The Chasm is a region in Liyue that has been taunting us on the world map for over a year now. And so far, all most people know about it is that something dangerous was dug up there, so don't go there. But what exactly lurks in the Chasm that is so dangerous that not even the mighty Godslayer is allowed to go there? Let's try to find out. First, we will analyze the clues we can find around the Chasm itself. There's one NPC and a note talking about this place. The myriad mountains of Tianheng are a trove of 1,000 treasures, for deep within the rocks bounteous jade gleams gloriously. Yet sinister forces now beset the Chasm. Its glorious gems are hidden and their crimson glow gone. The road to the retrieval of riches is rife with ruin. Perilous is the path to the procurement of precious elixirs. Wherefore did I immediately proceed to discuss this predicament with all in Yuehai Pavilion, that they might vote on the fate of mining activities at the Chasm. The verdict today was that it is inadvisable to continue, and all activity should cease immediately. Let it be known to all. Eschew lust for riches, and instead pine for a better tomorrow. Be drawn not to the noctilious glow, but instead set your gaze on the perfect guidance of fate and time. Mining in the Chasm is prohibited now. The Chasm came and sealed the whole place off. Before that, it was the biggest mine in Liyue in terms of output. Finest ore you'll find anywhere, and it's chock full of jade stones too. Under pressure from our buyers to meet demand, I had the boys working around the clock at this place. Until one day they dug up something very strange. In an effort to contain it, the Chasm insisted on sealing the place off, despite it going against their immediate interests. Now, that did surprise me. It's not like those big business types to look past the moral signs in their eyes. Something very strange. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I'm told the ones who did have been in a coma ever since. Whatever it is, maybe it's the source of all the rare ore deposits around here. If even the Chasm's response is to literally put a lid on it, then I certainly don't plan to look into it any further myself. It will serve me better to concentrate on my next step now the mine's closed. I can't go letting my curiosity get the better of me. I feel sorry for the boys though. Now the mine's gone, they are lost souls. They've got nothing to do with themselves and it's really crushed them. So they dug up something very strange. And whatever it was, the government demanded to seal up the whole place instantly. Also, sinister forces. That could mean pretty much everything, so nothing much to go off here. Next, there are 2 mentions of the Chasm on the bulletin boards in Liyue, but sadly they don't really say anything that we didn't already know from the clues in the Chasm area itself. The third one is a little bit unexpected, but we can actually talk to an NPC called Esther in Dragonspine, and she too will tell us something about the Chasm, even if slightly indirectly. Oh hello! I'm an environmentalist and researcher of geography. I'm currently investigating the terrain here. To find a snow-capped mountain right here in Mondstadt, given the climate in the rest of the region, is really quite fascinating. I've seen similar circumstances elsewhere in the past, such as the Chasm in Liyue, so there may be some similarities in their respective terrain features. I wanted to go up the mountain to do some proper research, but I was stopped by that Knight of Favonius. I real spoiled that one. What does that mean though? Well, whatever climate is going on in the Chasm, it does not compare to the one in Liyue. It does not necessarily mean snow. She could also be talking about a scorching desert, a tropical paradise, or a Syrai island like permanent thunderstorm. Finally, we could speculate that the never-melting snow in Dragonspine is part of the curse of the dragon Durin that died there. When Liyue's Chasm has the same climate anomalies, it is not too far off to assume that maybe there's also a dragon buried there, whose corrupted power may have been unleashed by miners that dug too deep, adding a cursed dragon to the list of potential threats. Another clue comes from volume 6 of a book called Records of Julian. The relevant part says, "In a past beyond memory, when even Rex Lapis would still have been young, a star fell from the sky into the barren plains west of Liyue. These plains were transformed into a huge and deep chasm in the wake of that star's descent, and jade would emerge from within, beautiful and limitless. and it would become the foundation for 1,000 years of industrial mining in Liyue thereafter. Later, when countless gods and rulers fought over the appointed celestial seats, and the very stars in the abyss themselves faded, tragedy and evil embarred the breath of the waters and mountains. The fallen star could bear this no longer, and heedless of the great Chasm's persuasions to stay, it leaped away towards the heavens. As it returned to the skies, the heavenly jade left behind a deep pit, within which humans would build great cities and mighty fortresses, finding refuge and shutting themselves in with the leftover inheritance of that fallen star. Over the tumult and storms of the next few thousand years, the redoubts of the Dunyu Valley stood tall and maintained prosperous relations with Liyue Harbor up till 500 years ago. But with the coming of the Black Calamity and the rise of the Abyss, the residents of Dunyu sealed the ancient city and departed for other lands. None know why these refugees chose to shut the gates of their home, and even the millennia-old Adepti and Yaksha are silent on this matter. And so the sealed fortresses became giant, silent tombs, with naught left in them but the sound of pond water and the wind whistling through empty halls. And thusly, too, did they come to be called the Dunyu Ruins by the people of Liyue. So basically, the chasm was probably a giant hole left behind by a meteorite that was so annoyed by humanity that it just went back to space. But apparently it is also filled with lots of ruins like the ones we can see around Dunyu Ruins and Lingsha Pass, which makes sense since it's right next to the potential crater. These holes were sealed at around the time when we currently assume was the fall of Khaenri'ah. Maybe they sealed off old war machinery, or maybe just their secrets to prevent that knowledge to fall into the wrong hands. Let's just add the Abyss Order and tons of ruin guards on the list of potential threats. Next clue is in the description of the artifact set called Tenacity of the Millelith. But since every single piece has a description longer than my attention span, I'm gonna TLDR it a little bit and just say, basically this set belonged to an unknown Yaksha that tried to defend the Chasm from the rise of the Abyss, but eventually failed. And to quote the set, in the end, the brave Yaksha and fearless citizenry would sink into an exhausted slumber in the dark lair of the enemy. Perhaps the miners unearthed something related to that Yaksha, and now his spirit is haunting that place, adding this to our list of potential greater threats. Finally, the iron meteorite plummeted to the ground, turning the earth to powdered glaze on impact, highly suggests that the area around the chasm is pretty much sand. But that doesn't tell us anything about the potential threat over there. That leaves us with these potential enemies: the Abyss Order, tons of ruin guards, a cursed dragon, the restless spirit of a Yaksha, and the army he failed. We know that whatever the threat is, it had to be dug up, so we can probably cross out the Abyss Order and the ruin guards for now. Although, let's be honest, they're gonna be there anyway just to mess with us.
And maybe we can meet Andrew again for some Netflix and chill, who knows.
This, however, would leave only a dragon, a berserking Yaksha, and spooky soldiers as an option. Unless... is there maybe another kind of enemy that they potentially accidentally dug up? Am I missing something here? Well, only way to find out is to just visit this place right now. But how, you may ask? Paimon refuses to let us go there, you may say. The area is literally not released yet, you might argue. Boy, do I know an expert in reaching yet unavailable zones. The ultimate being even Paimon is absolutely powerless against. Yes, Zayu. Zayu does not care for borders. If Zayu wants to find a place to nap, she will find a place to nap. Even if that means illegally crossing borders and overpowering tiny, suspicious gods. Zayu can't be stopped. So let's go and find out what really is the bane of the chasm.